Turn the camera off. Oh, it says there's 2 people watching. There it is. Well, welcome. I finally got the tech figured out. So you're the first person. We're about to just start sending out some Discord calls. So give me a quick second and I'll get that done as fast as I can. So once I get a couple of things just sent off, then I can actually go and interact. Okay, that's one place. Now, where all do I spam it to? That's an interesting question. No, the dude left. And oh, hey, I got 4 people. Welcome, guys. I'll explain in a minute. I just got 2 more places I want to try to post. Yeah. Okay, that's 1 more place. And last one. Almost done. 1 sec. Alright, so that's that. Now I have to join up with the video. And ooh, I got 6 people. Now, is chat enabled? Should be. I don't actually see where... Ah, I had chat disabled. Hey, Alpha Force! Welcome, join me here. I'm surprised, but yeah, you found me. I believe I just enabled comments. And so now it becomes a question of how... Yeah, I just gotta figure out how I read your comments. So... Okay, well, yeah, we could definitely DM afterwards, because the more I can talk with you there. You guys can see that. I can click on that so I can see you. This is my second live stream, so it's a little bit in the works. But I got what I need. So we're going to ignore that one there. Oh, it won't even let me close that thing down. But oh well, we can ignore that for here. Why can't I get it to... Oh, you know what? I bet you if I do it this way... I'm trying to set it up so I can actually see you guys' comments all the time. There it is. Yep. Now you guys can talk to me. And I'll see it. Hannibal is still top tier, yes. That's definitely true. I can show the heroes. So now we have the fun part. So I can't click on anything. I guess I don't need that thing if I've got it. There we go. So I've got all of the heroes here. They're all lined up, and are all unlocked or locked still. Sorry. And which ones? Which ones? Which ones? Well, the very first ones is going to be Charlemagne. He's the first one that shows up. So get my mouse back. Charlemagne's a tactician, legendary tactician, swordsman hero. We'll just go archer too. So these are all the heroes. There's Charlemagne, and there's Ramses II. So both of these ones here. You know what? How about I just quickly do this thing? I'm going to go straight back over to here. Actually, keep the legendary. And I will just list off every time we come across a new hero. So that's old, 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 old. Yeah, he's kind of halfway through season 1, whatever. But all of these ones so far are here. And oh no, he's still an old one. There's Sid, Cleopatra. Now we start the first one. So this is one that's not out yet. It was in the beta. So there are people who would know about him and stuff. But she's going to be a warrior archer. She'll play alongside with Mulan, and she'll play alongside of either Attila or Rani, depending on which one you have available. So she plays around with double attacks a lot. She's a pretty good one for them to go for. So we'll cover her here at some point. Then you got Boudica. So this one here is a warrior pikeman, and she'll play along with Frederick and... Or not Frederick, sorry. She'll play along with Richard and Leonidas. She replaces Frederick. So she's actually a really high damage, you know, like really, really high sustained damage hero. But you don't want her as a commander. Her commander skill is not that great. But that's Boudica. These ones should be coming out, at least for my server, in a couple weeks at most. These are going to be Generation 2 heroes. Charlemagne is a Generation 3 hero. So this is one where we're getting a shot at him. He was available if you went over to military tactics. You could see him as some of the enemies there. So people have been able to see him for quite a while. But we haven't actually been able to use him yet. So this is one that's going to be coming up. This is a new one. He is Tactician, Swordsman, Archer. So either you're going to use him with Sun Tzu, or you're going to use him with Saladin, or kind of those ones there. So I will come back to these in a second, but I'm just going to go through them all. Here is Lu Bu. So this one here is like one of the really, really hyped heroes. He's going to end up being the... Oh, did it freeze? Oh, no, never mind. So this one here is like one of the really, really hyped ones. He's a warrior cavalry, and he's basically going to bring cavalry out of obsolescence into actual really, really powerful. So he's a big one that people are coming for. He's season 2. He should also be within here within a couple weeks at most. Then you have Mansa Musa. This one here is a pikeman, a warrior pikeman. So he's going to be playing alongside Boudica and Frederick and Leonidas and trying to figure out which one better combo is. But he's one of those heroes here. So if I just... So this guy actually has one of the things that when I was looking at the heroes, I couldn't see. But it appears he's actually got really sky-high damage reduction and sky-high damage. So I think out of all the heroes, he's actually going to have the most damage potential there. So he's going to be interesting to look at here in a second. Then you got Mehmed. I have no idea. Mehmed. And this guy's a warrior swordsman and a warrior archer. So this guy's going to be playing alongside with... actually, I'm not quite sure yet where he's going to fit. I'll get to him in here. He's got turn-based stuff, and he's got a support one. I think he's going to be playing well with Mulan, the warrior archers. But I'll get to that here in a short bit here. For now, though, this guy's weird. He's kind of cracked in a weird sense. He's just odd. I've actually put a fair bit of focus and try to figure this guy out. because his ability is really, really unique. But he is Ramses the second, by the way. He is a tactician, swordsman, and archer. So again, you're talking Sun Tzu and Solomon are the two armies that he plays with. The thing with him, though, is if you have him commander, you enter this thing called the Divine Protection State for 9 seconds, which activates the signature skill once more every second. So your commander, Ramses, is going to activate his signature skill, then a bonus signature skill. Then, Then your second hero is going to activate their signature skill, and then a bonus one of those. And then your third hero is going to activate theirs, and then a bonus. So you get an actual extra signature for 3 seconds, and that seems really, really weird. Like if you were to pair it, say, with a silence from Queen Senadunk, you could guarantee getting a silence every single turn for 9 seconds. So if it goes, I'm just going to say turn 1 for 3 seconds, turn 4 for 3 seconds, turn, was it 4 is 7 for 3 seconds, and then also, yeah, 9 seconds. Oh, sorry, I had that mixed up in my head. Yeah, so that's like 9 seconds of solid silence there, guaranteed. That's pretty scary. So he's definitely going to be an interesting one that I've been doing a lot of thought for. Now you've got Ram. Okay, this one here is a martial pikeman. This one guy plays with Caesar and Octavian. He's a very strong hero, but he is also Mightiest Governor, top 10 Mightiest Governor. So only 10 people in the server are going to grab him. He's actually really, really good if that's what you're going for, but you got to be prepared that he's pretty high up there. So not many people. But he's all about turn-based damage reduction. He actually has a lot of damage, even though it's not in his signature. You can go for Savage and War Elephant to give him actually like a good chunk of damage. So he plays really well with Octavian. So I can go over him there a little bit more. Then you've got Saladin. This is another hero I've been spending a lot of effort trying to figure out. So Saladin is a martial cavalry archer. So martial archers don't exist right now. At the moment, Saladin is like the only one that's going to be there. We are, however, going to be getting a legendary, a mythic martial archer hero that comes out that's supposed to be free-to-play friendly. So the second mythic after King Arthur. But currently, there's no one for her to actually pair with. Nobody else plays martial archers. So Saladin is going to be one of them, and Henry is rumored to be the other one, because who else could it be, right? So Henry is the one that they're expecting to have pop with Saladin. On the other hand, though, you still have martial cavalry, and this one will play really well with Sid. And he really plays well. I think Saladin's one of the strong ones, so he's definitely something to look out for. Next one here, you have Solomon. He's going to be a wheel hero that'll come out. He's a tactician archer. And you basically have an entire army that is built around this one character. So, yeah, he's a big one. He's also pretty strong. He has high damage, and he has a tendency to burn. He has charging skills on his signature skill, and like enter charging state, and an ability to skip it. So he plays around the charging skill and trying to do that as often as possible. He also plays off with debuffs a lot. Not nearly as much as you expect, but yeah, fair amount. So he's going to be a big one. Then you've got Octavian, sorry. This guy is probably S tier. Just can't use him with the current stuff that he has. He's really needing to stretch a bit to try to get what he wants, but the hero himself is just absolute legendary buffer. He's a martial pikeman, so he goes with like Octavian, Caesar, Sheba, but that's, or Bushra, I guess she's called now. But that's not really good. She's actually not very good. But he also pairs with Ram. Now, the reason that Octavian is really, really good is you have to, this thing here, which it keeps, yes, that's exactly what I want. Here, well, deal might damage, but you get these supreme marks things. When you get 8 supreme marks, you actually get a damage boost to your entire army for 9 seconds. This will count out to be a 30% damage increase. But Octavian, this will increase it by another 30, so it becomes 60% damage increase. So a team-wide 60% damage increase for 9 seconds is pretty good. Rank 5, increases it by another 40%. So 60 plus 40, this is 100% damage increase. Duration goes up by 3 for 12 seconds. So your entire army does double damage for 12 seconds. And that's pretty scary. So trying to maximize his value is definitely a really big one. But he'll be available week or 2 weeks from my current server here. Just at the end of season 1 is when he becomes available. Technically, he was available immediately in the beta server, and then they changed his timing around. So it's harder to predict that he will, in fact, be at the end of season 1. Pretty sure he will be, though. Finally, you have Yodit. And Yodit is a season 2 hero. So as soon as season 1 is over, she's going to become part of the wheel. And this is one that's extremely high synergy with Minamoto. So the Warrior Swordsman army is going to take a giant leap up when you get this hero. So she's a Warrior Swordsman, plays with Minamoto and Trib. You have Minamoto, Trib, Yodit is about the best armor, is the best army that you can get for these things outside of King Arthur himself. So yes, this is a big one. But she's all about massive might damage and massive might stacking, and what do you call it? Huge skill multipliers. Like what you can get here is, if you were to say max it out, 20% up to 5. This is worth 100% increase in skill damage. So she's going to get, okay, good. She also has Executor, and this one has a chance to increase your skill damage by 80%. You're talking 180% increase in damage. Yeah, she's really big on the self-buffing. So, yep. Those are the heroes. The new heroes that are going to come along. So, showed them to you. Now let me go check the chat. Sonic Boom. Okay, so huge shout out to Sonic Boom. He's the one who let me get this thing here. I didn't get the invite myself. A certain someone definitely did a huge solid, a huge favor by giving me this one here. So the fact that I can show you guys all this right here today is, you can give a thanks to Sonic Boom. But how are Charlemagne and Ramses for Tactician Swordsman? Okay, we'll go with that. Is Hannibal still God tier? Yes, he's still, like, yeah, right at the very top for powerful heroes and armies is going to be Ramses. Or sorry, it's going to be, what was his name again? Hannibal. Blanked on his name for a second. So he is still going to be top tier, and that's not going to change anytime soon. And then your Julio build is now wrecked. As in, like, Julius? This is Sala Yamant. I'm curious what you mean by Julio. If it's Julius build, he actually gets a pretty powerful upgrade. Ram and Octavian do him really, really well. But it is a will march, and the fact that you need to have Caesar at 5 stars to make him work properly, because he gets such a massive advantage, increase. So if you go Marshal Pikeman, so these are the 4 here. Bushra is not great, but Caesar, his signature skill will do 220 damage at rank, what is it, 40? So 220 is what it does, and that's not a high number. Like 300 is what you would call kind of the average or whatever. He only does 220. However, 3rd star increases that by 60, so 280. So that's better. And this one increases by a whopping 120. So from 280 goes up to 400. So now all of a sudden you've got an ability that hits for 400, and it really starts to make a big, massive difference, because your base damage has gone up 180 points compared to if you'd only had him, say, at 1 star or 2 star. It's 180 base points increase. So he's really, really reliant on his 5th star. But yes, he can do quite well. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by wrecked, but I'm really curious to see. And then Manamusa, I'll go through the different heroes one by one, and that thing here pretty soon. AoE slow is sweet. There's actually more to it than that, but yes. Ramses is someone who I really want to play around with too. Yep. Third commander for Mulan is going to be Bellavir in Season 2. That's definitely... Oh man, my light's flicking. See if I can't... Oh, it's bouncing off of my head. Well, I guess I gotta deal with it. There's not much I can do about the fact that the light keeps going in and out. Oh, that's now going to bug the heck out of me for the rest of the live stream. So, yeah. Third commander for Mulan for Season 2 will be Bellavir. For Season 3, it's going to be a toss-up with... I think it's Mehem, or Med. And we'll have to see what that one shows. But onwards... Which one do I do first? I think I heard some stuff about Tactician Archers. Tier list sounds like a good idea. It's going to get harder, but doable. I'm going to be trying to test these things as much as I can in the meantime, so... You know that. Okay. Red Noise, first person to respond, said calves. So, cavalry it is. Now... Of these heroes, the first one that's going to come out here, and that's going to be so significant, is Lu Bu. So I'm going to go and give just a quick rundown of Lu Bu. He is warrior only for calves. Now Lu Bu has the effect here where your commander damage will deal damage up to 5 enemy targets, circular, okay, whatever. Dealing might damage. I think it's 200. So it's a pretty small chunk of might damage. But it can crit. So that's an interesting effect. Reduces your movement speed by, I think it's 10% is maximum, for 3 seconds. Now, it's a cavalry, I don't know if you can see my thumb, that has a movement speed reduction. This one actually allows you to hit and run, whereas anything else in the game you get stuck in combat and you just bog down. Lu Bu can go in and out, in and out. Now, he grants 100 initial rage upon entering battle. So his 200 initial rage drops down by half. This means that after 10 seconds, you're going to hit and deal a slow. So you can go in, charge in. Where's my camera? Good. You can charge in, hit, and then 10 seconds later, pull off and escape. Once you escape, you drop combat. Then you can charge back in, hits and pull back, hits and pull back, and like that. So that's his general play style. So he works great in small skirmishes where you can either try to outmaneuver and stuff. Not that great in Doom Balls. But so his signature, though, is a passive. It increases your hero's critical strike by 20% and makes all the hero's skills deal critical strikes. So your skills can crit. Now, Lu Bu himself, his signature does no damage. So the only thing of his that will crit is going to be his customizable skills. And it ends up being a pretty important portion of his damage. So you want critical strike on this guy, but you also want double strike so that you can have more chances to hit. After any of your heroes deal a critical strike, so if any of your 3 heroes crits, Lu Bu's damage will increase by 20%, is how much this is. So my next skill strike is going to be 20% stronger. And if I keep explaining everything to this degree of depth, it's going to be a very long thing. Okay, so I'm going to have to speed this thing up a bit compared to what my normal slow thing is. But it's a 20% increase, and then you have up to 70% chance to get a third attack. That third attack also has a chance to activate your skills. So if you have double attack effect, say Spirited Pursuit, has a 20% chance on a normal, or a 20% and a 20% for double attack, or a 20%, 20%, and a 20% for triple attack. So he actually has very high accurate skills that can also crit, so do high damage, and crits are a huge thing for him. His crits also deal extra, makes his skill do extra damage. So he's all about normal attacks, stacking the double attack as much as possible, and crits. That means you want to play him with Guan Yu, and you want to play him with Attila. Guan Yu over here, which is weird. I guess that's locked, but I haven't seen it ever in a locked state. Guan Yu here gets a whole bunch of increased crits and more damage and stuff on his crits. So he plays really well. And I'm sure, as you all know, Attila gives massive double attack, gives increased might and stuff like that. It makes Lulu hit really, really hard. But it also means that there's a really high chance of somebody getting a crit because everyone gets double attack. So those are the two options that he goes best with. The problem is you want Attila on your on your archers as well. So you got to choose which one gets which one. So he's going to be an absolute monster when it comes to cavalry to season 2. Which heroes do you see shaking up the meta the most? This is like probably the number one biggest one that shakes up the meta. Like, this is probably it. Would Rani be better than Guan Yu? No, not really. Guan Yu will give you increased, or basically gives you an essentially guaranteed crit, which makes it so that you get this whole effect here stacking. Now, this whole effect is going to include up to 50% bonus damage on your next skill strikes because somebody crit, and it's going to include a extra normal attack, which means your skills are going to have more likely chance to activate. Just the raw crit chance that Guan Yu has makes him extremely valuable in the lineup. If you don't have Guan Yu or you already have Attila and Rani at max, yes, that's going to be the better one. But generally, you don't want both supports in the Lu Bu army, which is fine. It leaves one for your Mulan, one for your Lu Bu. You have to decide which one's more important. But Guan Yu is the better one. Is there any match that would counter King Arthur? Actually, I do know a couple. Yeah, actually, I do know the answer to that one. It's not going to be what you expect, though. It's an off-meta build. Kaifus is the one who kind of came up with the original idea, but we've worked together to try to figure it out. I guess that's it for Lu Bu. So this is what you can expect for Season 2. That's the awesome one. I will very quickly divert over to something here. She. This is King Arthur counter. Queen Senadonk. But you don't use her normally. You want to use Queen Senadonk with Trib. If any of you can figure out why this works, like, congratulations. It's pretty good. Queen Senadonk is going to have a activation chance of only like 20%, or 22 if you get her up to 1 star. But she's going to silence the enemy for 3 seconds, so they can't do anything. Trib comes along and gives her plus 50% increased activation chance for the first bit there. So all of a sudden now she's got a really, really high chance of silencing versus a very, very small chance before. And it'll last up to, well, I mean, if you're trying to fight King Arthur, chances are you got it maxed. So with her maxed, increases the effect from here by 3 seconds. And for 12 seconds. So this goes up to 15. Now, it's a 3-second prior where nothing happens. After 3 seconds, you have 15 seconds of very high chance to silence King Arthur so he can't do anything for a long period of time, and he just gets useless. Right? Like, he's got high base stats, so he's not going to be useless, but he can't massively wail on people with his active skills and stuff because he's silenced long enough to at least whittle him down hard enough to, you know, potentially do something. But this is the number one counter to King Arthur. Is to go Queen Senadonk with Trib. Question of what you go third, that one's up for debate. Theodora seems to be a likely option just because you get more stats from the same type, and she has a damage reduction, so she'll last a little bit longer. After the 15 seconds, you're just hoping for whatever bleeps of silence that you can throw at Arthur, you know, for however long you last. But you basically screw Arthur's early 15 seconds up really, really bad, and hope your team can do enough to at least knock him out before he kills you. So that's the King Arthur match. So the answer is yes, there is one. It's just unorthodox. Now, I believe we were looking at Calgary. So the next one, and looks like Saladin. So Saladin's the one we're going to start with. I see. And that works for, you mean the King Arthur counter? I have no idea what's going to happen if you try to stick that into a rally, honestly. Good question. I haven't thought of that. So, Saladin. This one is a martial cavalry or a martial archer. So the martial archer, like I said, is kind of a weird one because currently doesn't exist. Supposedly we'll get Hapshu, or whatever her name is. Hapshu. Which I can actually very quickly show by going to Heroes, Unreleased. That's her. So this is called Hatshepsut. And she's going to be a martial archer. This is supposedly the one that's going to be available as a mythic hero, and also available free to play, or at least low spender. So she's going to be a lot more friendly in that regard. Unfortunately, though, there is no other one here that actually has that combo. So you have to play with this guy, which better one is here, who's also a martial archer. But he isn't actually in the test thing that we have now, so it's only speculation that he's going to come out at roughly the same time, because why release a hero if you don't release what she supports? It also means that Hapsu is most likely not going to arrive until Season 3, at the earliest. So, those are the ones that they pair with. My game reset. So, now I have to wait for it to load. So, well, the game is loading, and the test environment goes. We're going to be looking at Saladin. And Saladin is a weird hero in a sense. And I'm going to have to grab my calculator to describe a bit about what it is he does. Speaking of, where did I put my calculator? So, yeah. Best friend I've got, I guess. That was just sad. Pretend I didn't say that. But I've got a scientific calculator. I use it to do all sorts of things. Legendary Cavalry Marshal. So I'm going to go and explain here what Saladin does. First off, his commander skill. It'll deal a chunk of damage. It's actually going to deal a total of 600 damage to the might damage to 3 enemy heroes in the fan-shaped area. So 600 times 3 is 1,800. This is a really, really high damage nuke. Has a bonus might damage and a strategy bonus, which is insane, because normally you'd have, like, say, 18 times 2 equals 3,600 damage. But instead, he's going to have 18 times 3. So he's going to have 5,400 damage pumping out of this commander skill. It is huge damage. But 400 rage cost with a 200 initial. So that means that after 20 seconds, this thing here is going to go off and absolutely blast the bejeebers out of something. Like, it's going to explode damage. Like, really, really, really high. Like, a might and a strategy bonus together is huge. But after 20 seconds, it won't happen again for another 40. That's like a minute into the battle, and that's pretty late. So you end up having this really, really, really... Oh, it hits like 3 targets. It's just massive nuke of a damage skill. Hits once after 20 seconds, which is slow. And then just doesn't hit again, probably, for the rest of the battle. Not until Obscurity. So that's what his commander skill does. Now, the thing is, he gets bonus rage regen. That's his whole signature skill, is bonus rage. And that makes it so your commander skill comes up more often. So that becomes a question. Is your commander skill something that's powerful enough that that's what you throw everything into, trying to make your commander skill activate more often? Because you can get, with this army, 3 people who have Roar of Victory. And this one here will increase your rage by 26. So that takes off 2.6 seconds. Every single time one of these activates, 2.6 seconds off. If you have 3 of them, you can theoretically stack up enough rage regen to make this thing happen twice, or at least to make the first one happen really, really quick. So, yeah, he's going to be interesting. I don't think he'll be a commander, but he could be. Now, his signature skill. This is a passive, and this will increase your rage passively by 1.23. So, basically, every second, instead of gaining 10 rage, which is what you normally gain, you're going to gain 11.23. So, 11.1, or 11.2, sorry, essentially. But this has a might bonus and a strategy bonus. So you're looking at about triple that. You're looking at about a 4.2 increase in strategy is what you can expect. So this means that instead of gaining 10 rage per second, you're gaining 14. That's a 40% increase faster. This is awesome because it works all the time. Now, when your commander uses signature, active, or secondary strike skills, increases their rage by an extra amount here, with a might bonus and strategy bonus. This can affect triggers up to once every 3 seconds. So you can't double stack it, which is fair, because this turns out to be 20. And with his stats, with the might and the strategy, you're looking at about a 67 or a 68 rage gained. So that means you're going to drop off 6 points, basically 7 seconds off of your commander skill every time it goes. If you have a 200 commander skill and you just dropped 7 seconds off of it on the first 3 seconds, and then another 7 seconds off on the next 3. So like 1, 2, 3 is minus 7 seconds. 4, 5, 6 is another minus 7 seconds. You're at a 14-second reduction in damage if your commander can hit signature skill in both those times. Plus the bonus from here. Your commander skill is going to be popping fast. Like, really fast. Only problem is, when your commander uses a signature active or secondary strike skill. Saladin is a passive. So Saladin is commander, he can't use this. Therefore, Saladin makes for a very, very, very good secondary hero if you can have it so your commander reliably activates his effect. So then it comes a question of which rage skill, which commander skill do you want to have happen really, really badly and happen really, really often. The first option for that is going to be Sid. That's the one that you want to go for. Now, his skills, he has Roar of Victory, which increases your rage regen again. And so this one here is by about 2.6, did I say it was? Or 26, so that's 2.6 seconds. So every time this thing goes off, and this is a secondary strike, you're going to have massive rage cycling. Now, in Rage Strike, this is a purple skill, so you can actually max it out probably pretty quick. It does 25%. It's an active, which is weird, but sure, fine. Deal strategy damage, who cares? It's a bit of damage, it's not much. And increases your troops' rage by 20. So this takes 2 seconds off your commander skill again. You can stack all of those to have something, which means, by the way, your commander has to be extraordinarily powerful to have literally an entire hero dedicated just to increasing your rage generation. It means that commander skill has to be worth something huge. And that's the question there. So, Sid is the one that you're going to pair him with, most likely. And Sid has this thing here where this skill here, I think, is the strongest single target nuke in the game, but it requires the target to be in the slowdown state. So it does some damage, which is good, but it doubles the damage if there's slowdown. And that's going to be his movement speed. So he reduces the movement speed by some point for 12 seconds. This is important because as long as your commander skill is up, you do double damage on your signature. That's how Sid works. So this thing here has got 100 initial rage, so it's going to be a 15 second. But if you can pop your signature twice, this thing basically goes off on third cycle really, really, really fast. And then from that point onwards, it's always up because your rage is generating so fast that it's going to, has 12-second duration. It'll just stay up permanently. And Sid does massive double damage. That is the normal. That's the big combo here with Saladin. Just double damage Sid all the way through. And yeah, other than that though, he's pretty simple. Now his stars. This one will increase your troops' rage by an extra 2.5%. Now this stacks with your might bonus and your strategy bonus. So this is actually going to be worth about a 0.75 roughly. So I actually have Saladin at three stars. Oh, I can't. There you go. This number goes up to 5. Basically, like his passive part goes up to 5 rage generated every second. So if you have 10 normally and 5 extra, you've basically increased your rage gen passively by 50% with that one there. Now, his third star, whenever your commander uses the signature active or secondary strike skill, Fear of the Sun increases the troops' rage by an extra 8 points. And this one is also affected by the might and the strategy bonus. So your thing goes up from 67 to 94. You gain like 9 seconds of reduction to your commander skill every time this goes off. So even the heroes with really big commander skills at 5 stars can really start to chunk down the cooldown. So it opens up possibilities as a result of that. Now this one here is every time the effect activates, increases your commander's damage by 25% for 3 seconds. So what this essentially means is if my commander activates his skill, his next 3 seconds, which means his next one activation, is going to have 25% increased damage. If I activate it again, the next one has 25% increased damage. Theoretically, if I activate it 100% all the time, all my damage is increased by 25. Most likely, though, it just means you activate, and then your next skill, if you can activate it twice in a row, gets boosted. If you can't activate twice in a row, you get no effect from this. So, yeah. You need a really high activation chance on your signature skill of your commander, and this becomes brutal. It's just a lot of extra damage. So Sid needs as much activation chance and double attack as he can get, because then he gets 25% bonus damage on top of everything else. It becomes pretty messy. So yeah, make sure to thumbs up my video. Okay, you know what? Here's a promotion thing. I hope you join my Discord. I can put the link there in the... Oh, I don't think I got my tech here well enough I can actually do Discord. You can look for me at, TheProfessor0088. That's my Discord name. It's the same one as in here. TheProfessor0088 is live. Exactly for that. Discord is definitely where you'll find me the most. But I also want to show you here that I do coaching sessions. So if you want to figure out what to do, if you want to try to get through your this next season and come out the other side all planned up and stuff, I do paid coaching sessions. I'll help anyone who asks. Absolutely. I don't mind free and stuff like that. But the paid one is a 1-hour exclusive. You get my sole focus for 1 hour, and that will sit down and plan something out with you. Make sure you're all set up. Any mistakes or something like that, I'll help you fix. And it'll do really well. There's quite a few people have actually helped so far with this. It's been a roaring success. Yeah, so that's my self-promotion for Saladin. But I'm serious. The paid coaching thing is turning out extremely well. I've helped Caiaphas and Galapagos both with it. So I've even helped people fix King Arthur, or not fix, but work on King Arthur armies and such. That was a really interesting experience. So that is Saladin. Oh, yeah, since I'm at this thing, the optimal build for Saladin right now is going to be Sid as a commander. Saladin, okay, those make sense. Both of those ones here are going to have double attack and roar of victory. because you want to be having this pop as much as you possible. And then the third hero, maybe you'll see this coming, maybe not, is actually going to be there he is, Ashoka. I have no idea if you guys ever saw this one, expected this one, but his signature skill is going to increase your commander's activation chance by a lot, because it's got a might bonus and strategy bonus. It's basically a 50% increase to Sid's activation at like 0 star. So it gives you 12.5. So your, what do you call it? If 25 is your normal, then like 25 plus 12.5 is increases your activation by half as likely. Not an actual 50% number, but just half as often. At 5 stars, that jumps up to almost twice as often. So he just makes Sid activate really, really, really frequently, which makes it so Saladin gives you big, massive rage boosts. And then once that's activated, the extra activations on Sid is worth double damage. Like, it just goes bonkers. Probably, I think, the highest damage output army in the game, just for sheer DPS, is this army. Now, with him, you can also go, where's it? Roar of Victory. No double attack means you go for probably Active Mercy is what you want for the next one. But, yeah, that's a mixed army that is, I think, the actual highest damage in the game. King Arthur might be able to match that now that I think about it. I'm not sure. So, fine, we'll say one of. So, that's Saladin. Hello, Christian. I'm a big fan of Meat myself, too. I'm glad to see you are as well. Now, oh, this is what I was going to say. I just showed you guys a mixed army type with Ashoka. This skill here, when your commander uses signature active or secondary strike, you get massive rage gen. You also get massive rage gen passively and stuff like that. The question becomes, who needs massive rage regen that's passive? And so that's what I've been trying to figure out. This is a serious question. One of the things I'm going to try to get. Who is someone that has a really critical commander skill that has an active or secondary strike ability? Because if you were to take, say, Mulan, and you went off type with Archer Marshal instead of Archer Warrior, Mulan is got a really high damage nuke. That could be interesting. She also has a pretty high uptime. So I've been wanting to go through and try and figure out who has really important commander skills. And like who would benefit from that. Miyamoto is an interesting one because you can, double stack the one, so at least you get a better chance of activating. This is one that I came up with. So I don't actually know how well it would work, but his commander skill has a 15-second cooldown. If Saladin activates once, that gives you 8 seconds of, or like, let's say 7 seconds of reduced cooldown. That's a lot. Really, really big effect. Now, you also have a 30%. Uh-oh. I pushed a button. With a 6% here, so you're looking at 36%. You're looking at that's an extra 15, so 30 is 40, 51%. And you could even go here for an extra 20. 51 is you're looking at 73. You're looking at like a 73% chance of activating this thing here. that's really high, which means you will always be getting massive rage reduction, the massive rage generation, and a really low cooldown means it's going to be popping really, really fast. This was a theory that I had, might be interesting to try. But I'm going to have fun trying to come up with more ideas like that. So, well, Coleman says, I think I will do Sid as the commander, then Saladin and Ashoka. And no, that's actually not going to work. Unfortunately, that's definitely not going to be a good one. Oh, sorry, I misread that. I thought you said Saladin first. Sid, Saladin, Ashoka is, yes, that's exactly the one I was saying. It won't be available until season 3, but that is probably going to be an extremely potent army if you get it to that point. Yodit or Constantine? Of course, with Miyamoto and Tribuana. Well, let's jump to that one next. So, you're going to have Yodit. I don't know if you guys know what this one does. He's available, you can see him, but not for most people who just started the original, official release. Probably can't see this guy yet. So this is a wheel here. He pairs extremely well with Miyamoto. One of the problems that you have is Miyamoto has a chance to let the next hero with highest might activate. His damage is going to be 390 is what he gets up to, and then a 50% chance of getting this thing. One way to look at this thing is if this activates, you can take the damage of the next hero and stack it on top, right? Because you got two things there. So 390. If you're running Derek, this one here only has a 160 base damage. So the base damage is actually really low. Now, this is nice, but once you're already in the state, nothing happens. So activating this again and again just means that you're 390 plus 160, you're looking at 450. Or 550, sorry. That's a large amount of damage, but that's it. 160 is his biggest weakness. Yodit is different. Her signature skill does 300 damage. So instead of 160, now you're doing 300. So 390 plus 300 is 690 damage. You basically double the bonus damage you get from King Derek. This is really, really good. Additionally, you get all these stacks of deterrence, which gives you extra might. It's like 120 extra might you get total. So then you got a chance for it to enter disable or disarm thing. But the thing is, when Miyamoto activates, Yodit gets the activation herself, and all of Yodit's bonuses herself will apply, not Miyamoto's. So if you were to say increase Miyamoto's damage, it wouldn't increase the second element activation. But if you increase Yodit's damage, it would. And this is important because she has two effects that deal massive extra damage. So, like I said before, you're looking at up to 100% for that thing and 80% for this thing. You're looking at a massive, up to, if you're lucky, 200% or near bonus damage. And she has 300 base versus King Derek only has 160. Yeah. When Miyamoto pops and makes her active, she just does massive amount of damage compared to what Derek does. So Trib is going to boost Miyamoto and it's going to pop, and then Yodit is going to go and do her thing. My expectation is that Yodit alone deals 3 times as much damage as King Derek does. That's a lot. Now, it's not going to do 3 times your total army's power. Probably close to double or a little bit less than double. But Derek is probably triple the value than him. So as soon as Yodit appears, they become a massive increase in both damage and threat. Which makes it so archers aren't going to be able to counter them as easily, because they're going to be able to dish a lot back. So that's Yodit. I guess I should be able to go through it a little bit better. She does increased instances of damage. I don't remember the damage off the top of my head, but it's pretty high. She'll actually do more damage with her commander skill than Miyamoto does. When there are 4 stacks of deterrence, so basically if your signature skill activates 4 times, and then the commander skill goes off, it'll erase 4 stacks, and the damage will go up from 3 instances to 5 instances. Same damage value. So you're looking at like 20% or something like that increase in total damage. So it is good, but you lose the deterrent stacks, and that makes it kind of a mix. Thing is, she does so much damage that having Miyamoto and Trib support her can be really, really good, because that way you're guaranteed to get those stacks really fast with Trib support. So it is a feasible play. As I understand it, Miyamoto is the better commander. You want Miyamoto supporting Trib as a secondary hero, but both of them will be doing massive amounts of damage, pretty comparable to each other. Also, damage immunity, if you put this in your 3rd hero, then the next 1 second, which will be the enemy commander, you have damage immunity for 1 second when it goes off. And that, if you're lucky, can block, like your commander's signature damage or whatever it is, and that could be more likely than if you're, say, block Mulan's churn, is way more effective than blocking Attila's. But this will also block commander skills if you get really, really lucky. It's a pretty small chance. You only have a 10% chance for your damage immunity to go off. That's not much to begin with. But if you are lucky, this can actually block an entire commander skill. So, roll the dice and hope you're lucky, because, man, that could definitely be a big swing. So, I guess I didn't explain it really well. What this thing here does is gives you increased in activation chance for your signature skill. Very, very good. And then every time you activate a signature skill, so nothing else, just signature, you have a % chance to increase that damage. Okay, so 1/3 for 50% increase. Max rank, these two go, or all 3 of them, I guess. 50% for 80. So if you're just to math this thing out, it only activates half as often. You're looking at a roughly 40% increased damage overall. That's pretty good. Executor takes longer to build up, but it gives you more damage at the end, and it always is on. So like this one here is more powerful over a duration, whereas this one here is available right from the start. But both together is worth more than just one or the other. So those are definitely your 2 skills that you want to go for. Battle Roar is, if this one didn't exist, it's a nice skill. Okay, it'll do high damage. Notice that it does its maximum damage at level 40 without any stars, so that's very nice. With low investment, this can do quite a lot, and increases your damage by about 20 to 25%. So this is good. It has a huge activation chance for these kind of skills. Normally it's 20 or 25. But this is what's really, really important. The fact that you can get the damage really, really early is what's really important. This literally just increases the activation chance. That said, 10% increase to activation chance and chance for a big chunk of damage is higher, is more valuable. Now, Methhead. I probably can't say that, so don't pretend I didn't. This one here is a warrior, swordsman, and archer. This is significant. I think he's got more value with Mulan, but I'll go over what he does here. He is one of those heroes that has an AoE increase on his effect. So 250 with 100 initial. Increases damage dealt by nearby allied troops up to 3 heroes by, what is this amount? 18%. So it's going to give an 18% increase in damage. Now, when you take skill damage, recovers units equal to... this was one I couldn't get. I just couldn't see it. So, we're looking at 6.9 minus 47 39 plus 15%. So this one here will basically undo 15% of the damage taken for 9 seconds. So that's nice. It's not quite 50% damage immunity. I think it's better than that, but okay, cool. Now, this does apply to 3 heroes, which is nice. If you were to throw this guy into like a secondary kind of off unit, I could see that happening there, because it'll increase their damage and give them skill reduction, but it's only going to be slow is the word I've got for it. So 15 seconds, last 9 seconds, and then it's not up for quite a while. It's not an army that builds for itself. It's an army that supports others, and that makes it interesting. They usually aren't... They're hard to use, those things. Most players can't. If you're big whales, then you have the option to, but you usually also have the option to run something else, and that ends up being a better option. So I don't see it being used all that often. Faith. That's an interesting one. This one here is turn-based every 6 seconds. Okay, and this one here is a lot of text, but I'm going to narrow or just limit it down. It has a 20% chance to increase your damage and a 20% chance to decrease your damage. Oh, sorry, 60% chance to increase and decrease. So you can those activate independently. So you're looking at that if you do it every 2 cycles, you've got a 60% chance of getting extra damage or reduced damage, or if you're lucky, both. It is going to be 20% for both, so a 20% boost with a might bonus, thankfully. But that's about it. That's all his effect does. Every 6 seconds, you get a 60% chance of getting either plus 20 damage or minus 20% damage. Might bonus means you're looking at plus 40% damage or minus 40% damage. That's pretty good. I'll go over to his stars for a second, though. So this one is going to increase your damage reduction from 20 to 25. So with might, you're looking at from 40 to 50. So a 50% damage boost. Okay, pretty decent. This one is actually quite nice. 3 stars is if you're going to use him is where you want him to be, because this will increase the damage effect by additional 10, which is so 20 goes to 30. So you're looking at roughly a 60% damage boost every second cycle. You have a 60% chance for that. And so this is where the sweet spot is. Just the chances for extra, like he's just pure support hero. Attila gives you double attack and stuff like that, but this one here can give you like damage reduction and damage in decent amount. His 5th star increases the activation chance by 10, so 60 goes up to 70. So that's good because you have the 2 effects. But that makes him just this giant support hero. Okay. He also has this weird one and Peaceful Haven. So go over here for a second. This is going to recover your unit by 6 seconds. Recovers your units. That is incredibly valuable because if you take Owls and Peaceful Haven, it means you're getting damage reduction half the time. Every 6 seconds for 3 seconds, you get very, very strong skill. So that's really, really good for its first effect because this gives you 50% damage reduction on top of the heal. And then you also have this thing where you can recover units equal to a third or a portion of the damage. 16.75. So this is the same thing that his commander skill does, where once in a 3-second period, so for just one single skill, you can undo 25% of the damage. It's very durable. It makes you a lot really durable. So a Mulan and a Mehed and an Attila or Mulan, Mehed, and a Rani is what I can see being the best use. But I'm still trying to figure out where he would work. He doesn't seem to fit into a warrior swordsman lineup very well. Not yet. Not that I can tell anyway. This is all very preliminary. So I'm not sure where to put him. I'm not sure how valuable his bonuses are, because warrior swordsmen are already doing a very specific thing, and warrior archers are probably a very specific thing as well. Hard time to slot him in. But that's Mohammed. Everyone should just go all in on archers, except for the fact that everybody's going to go all in on Lu Bu. He's going to be a meta changer, and all of a sudden he's going to be start hunting everyone who's got archers. Archers are currently very used to the fact that nobody's counters them, because martial cavalry are kind of meh weak in the early game for the first season. So archers have this like free range rampant where they can just go and do whatever they want. Lu Bu's going to come, and that's not going to be that true anymore. Also, what was it? Saladin's going to come, and martial cavalry are going to be available a lot cheaper on, so that's not going to be as possible anymore. Like, no, archers are very good, but they are very strong in season 1. They drop off in season 2. So be cautious of that. So that is Mehed. Oops, I went too far. Now, let's do Tactician archers next. Because these ones get 2 new heroes. Charlemagne, Ramses, well, 3 actually, and Solomon. So let's start with Ramses. This guy is weird. Thing with him is Son of Ra. He reduces movement speed, okay, by 20%. And increases the strategy by 20, okay. But every time for the duration of this effect that you activate a signature skill, you activate another signature skill. I do not know if this is like a guaranteed 100% or if it just doubles whichever one you do activate. But it does it at 50% effect. It lasts for 9 seconds. He also has a 280 rage, which is weird. So this is one that I gotta do a lot of testing for. If I gave this to silence, like Queen Senadonk, do I get silence for 9 seconds straight? Well, that sounds pretty useful. I gotta figure that out. Now, oh, I should say, he gets this divine protection state. This isn't highlighted, but this is a special keyword that'll come up in a bit. So, his signature skill deals strategy damage. So, that is going to be... Oh, man. 200 damage. This is not high. Okay. At 1 star, it goes up to 245. So, it definitely has increased it 200 for, sorry, at 1 star. But for the first 30 seconds of battle, every activation of any hero's signature skill additionally recovers up to 3.5 rage. So every time you have 10 rage normally, and every time any of your heroes activates a signature skill, you get 3.5 each, which is, if all 3 heroes activate it, 1 second shorter. It's not massive, but it's there. This falls off after 30 seconds to being a smaller one. This is what I don't understand. Other rage recovery effects for your troop do not take effect. What I think this is saying is that if I were to put like Saladin there, who has all of those rage recovery things, this overwrites them and makes them not activate. So you can't stack them, which means that you can't stack Saladin plus this effect to just have this happen all the time, is what they're going for. But okay, good to know. It's a 200 damage, and every time your activation skill goes off, you get chunks of extra rage regen. Now, I think Strategy Master's Gift is the one you want to go for. 30% damage increase, but also activation chance. Flame of Genesis. This is the one where you go here. Now, each time you activate a signature active skill, you get more strategy. And this strategy is going to tick up to like 180 is the maximum. It's going to tick up to 180. And then for every 3 activations, increases the damage of your next signature active skill by 25. The fact that he can get 180 extra strategy just total means that his things are going to hit a lot harder. So his 200 damage gets boosted up to 245. He ends up getting a lot of damage through this Flame of Genesis thing. But also for every 3 activations of the signature. I think this is for any hero activation. I do not know. Increases the damage here. If your commander skill goes off, you get 3 activations. And there you go. You get the extra 25% bonus damage. So he's weird in that he's going to be doing that. But you also get these. Actually, before I do this thing. You remember when I said enters Divine Protection state? This is now what I'm about to talk to, because this plays into effect with your stars. Increases the damage of Rate of Storms by 45. Okay. So it goes from 200 to 245. Also, while under Divine Protection, so this is Divine Protection state, grants an additional 10 points. So while your commander skill is going, you get extra 10 points of strategy. Okay, cool. This one is while under Divine Protection. So while your commander skill is going, the reduction rate of the damage dealt by the signature skill activated every second. Oh, okay. How do I put this one? Activating additional signature skill. So you get 2 signature skills. You get the bonus one, but the bonus one only does half damage. And so if it only does half damage, this one here drops it from 50% to 40. So 10% extra damage. Cool. You also have a chance to ignore the silence effect for whatever reason. Okay, cool. Can't be silenced. Guarantees immunity to silence effects. Basically, as long as you're under Divine Protection at 5 stars, you can never be silenced. Okay, cool. But increases your rage recovery by 12 for the first 30 seconds. This one goes up from 3.5 to 12. That's a massive increase. And it also means your commander skill is going to be coming a lot quicker too. So, same thing. That's where he plays in, where he's got something like he would work good for increasing as a support for increasing your damage. He'll do decent damage himself because of all of his buffs. But it's his commander skill, putting him first, that's really weird about what does this do. Like a Ramses with a Solomon with a or Sudden Dunk, Queen Sudden Dunk. That might be a thing. I don't know. So that's them. Charlemagne. So here's the problem. How do I put it? Your Tactician swordsmen, your Tactician archers are pretty full. Trying to fit him into here is going to be kind of weird. He is probably going to replace Theodora. So you're going to have Sun Tzu, Charlemagne, and Philip. But his commander skill here 400 rage, so that's huge. 200 initial, okay, that's better. Recovers your troops' units by, what is it, 673. Okay, it's not an even number. Strategy bonus. This is going to be a massive heal, which comes really late, but increases their might and strategy by 20% with a strategy bonus for 15 seconds. That's going to be a 40% by this thing. You're going to take your hero's might and strategy and increase it by 40% for 15 seconds. That's huge. If you're going to have 500 strategy and you just increase that by 40, like, yeah, it's big, massive number. So this thought about how to use this thing, but such a large delay on the thing means you're going to use it once and then that's it. Additionally, his commander signature skill is weird. So this will do two things. If you're a commander, it does something. If you're a deputy, it does something. So I'm going to read this thing here. It has a 25% chance, like regardless of whichever one you put it, it'll have a 25% chance to activate and do something. If you're the commander, no, sorry, yeah, we'll go with if you're commander. The second in command gets 15% activation increase. So as long as Charlemagne is commander, his passive ability is your next hero gets plus 15% activation. That's not bad. If you're acting as a deputy, then your commander has a 25% chance of getting its effect twice. Okay, will immediately use their signature active skill once. So you get basically Miyamoto effect for a strategy. So if you're Sun Tzu, this means that you get a second shot at activating your big, massive strategy damage nuke. And same thing with Solomon. That's very, very good. So you want this guy as your deputy, most likely. And then I don't think he has any. Oh yeah, you want to take Convocation and Earth Crush. You get the double burns because, you know, cool. You're a might and a strategy hero combined. But you get a 25% chance of your commander getting an extra skill. Miyamoto has a 50% chance. So, like, Miyamoto's is better, definitely, than this one here. But I'll still take Sun Tzu with an extra activation. Like, it would definitely be a very good thing. But it's better than Theodora, I think. Oh, yeah. When you're second in command, I missed this. You actually get a 35%. With the skill damage increasing by 35%. So strategy bonus means it's 75%. So that's pretty good. Oops, no, I'm looking at the stars. So this increases it by 12.5. When you're done after 1 star, you're basically looking at a second activation with double damage because it goes up to 47. So that's really, really nice. Especially on a high damage champion like Solomon or Sun Tzu. A bonus activation with double damage is very, very nice. Now this one increases it, so 25 goes up to 29. Cool, that's good. That's a very welcome bonus. And this one here, if you are, you just get bonus strategy to your second in command. You have Sun Tzu and Charlemagne, then Sun Tzu gets an extra 35. If Charlemagne is commander, then it grants the secondary one 20, which is less. basically, it's extra might and strategy for your commander. I don't know about you guys, but this ended up being kind of a it ended up being an info dump more than I had planned. I was going to go through them. They're interesting. I don't know if anyone's even still paying attention anymore, though. I think I hit them all. So, I have no idea if anyone's still paying attention. If you are, if you got any questions or you're curious about something, I'll definitely try to explain it. But pretty quickly, we'll probably log off. What I'm planning on trying to do is test how Ramses works, and then start testing some interactions between these new heroes, especially off type interactions. Let's see, one of them, I need to figure out what his commander works with. I'm really not sure what kind of combination you can do with that. Same thing with Saladin increasing your rage generation so massively. What heroes could really, really use that? Yeah, just mess with them for a bit. I think Charlemagne is going to be decently strong. I think it's going to be increased to the current options. Queen Senendonk is like the one here where silence is nice. Bonus damage, like bonus activation with double damage, is way, way more damage, way more important. I think his, I didn't do it justice, but this damage increase effect off of the bonus activation is going to be huge. The main reason that this is going to be huge is because, let's see if I can find him. Sun Tzu has a lot of damage in his signature, but he has the ultimate strategist effect. When Sun Tzu uses a signature skill in the ultimate strategist status, he deals additional strategy damage. This is essentially like over double the increase. Like you can tell 59 to 65, like it is over double damage if you can keep in this ultimate strategy. Now, if your first activation goes and it, like it does this thing, and then the Charlemagne activates the next second, you get the full damage boost like that, like just instantly. And that's going to be, and it's doubled too, which is awesome. But also, if you enter the charging state, or if you don't activate, Charlemagne gives you an extra chance to stay in the ultimate strategist state without dropping off and losing a huge chunk of damage. So he's going to be like extra activations for Sun Tzu is a very, very welcome effect. He's really going to want that. It's going to be worth losing Theodora, who only gave you maneuver, was the effect. This is worth way more. Grigori? How do I put this? Busher sucks. Drop her at the first convenience, the earliest convenience. Sid, Saladin, and Tark is a very, 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 very strong lineup. Sid trying to stick Busher in there somewhere is just not going to do you well. Just get rid of her. You absolutely want Saladin in your Sid March. Like, that's like one of the things here. His rage gen is just so off the charts high if you can activate these things really, really commonly. So, like, what would happen, for instance, if I used what was the word? Like, because, you know, if types didn't matter, and I didn't actually have to worry about that. Trib. Because this is going to force your first one to activate. So whatever your first hero is going to get a ding, 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 ding kind of effect going. And what hero could benefit from that? Yodit, possibly. And, yep. You can get out of my face. If I can maybe do like this... Like, assume for a second I'm not using martial warriors. Mehmed with a Tark following, or sorry, with a Trib following, and Saladin. I lost my train of thought. I had too many thoughts going on there at once, and I lost all. If I had a Mehmed with a Trib and Saladin following up behind, that could boost my commander skill activation really, really high. And, or what did that work actually? See, this is the point where I start just messing with things. This is turn-based. Won't activate. Nope, that doesn't work. So, who would benefit from that? Oh, Philip. Oh. Okay, this is an interesting idea. Well, I don't know if any of you still see here, but it's off type pretty badly. Saladin. So he's going to give you increased rage. He's also going to give you a large chunk of extra rage, like 60 to 80 extra rage, every time your commander activates a signature skill. Well, if you do that with a Philip as commander, Sun Tzu army, Philip is going to support Sun Tzu from in front. This thing here, with all of the extra bonuses, can get up to like a 60% activation chance. So it's going to be up pretty often. You're going to have a charging phase, though. That's a problem. But you could get your commander skill to pop. And your commander skill is pretty funky. I don't know. I'm going to have to do more testing, more thoughts. So who to put with the sun guy? The good answer is going to be Sun Tzu, Philip, and then of the two, Charlemagne is very, very strong. I can see the appeal. Ramses less so. Okay, Charlemagne is the one that would have the actual, like the double damage thing here works, synergizes very well with Sun Tzu. Ram doesn't. It just doesn't have quite the effect. So I would say Sun Tzu, Philip, and Charlemagne is going to be for that one there. Do you need anything about Tark? What do you mean by... Do I need to do anything about Tark? Oh, if you're planning on going martial cavalry, and you want to stay with just straight martial cavalry, not mix in like Ashoka or something in there, then you definitely want Tark. Especially since you can get Tark for 5 stars without sacrificing any resources going on to Sid. Sid, 5 stars, Tark, 5 star, bought through the heroic expedition, and then whatever you can get for Saladin would do you extremely well. Very, very strong lineup. I also thought of that, by the way. I don't have an answer to this one, but I have definitely the thought was there. Um, I think Solomon, Charlemagne, and YSS would work good together. So Solomon with Charlemagne is going to go good. Solomon with YSS is going to go good. Do the two of them work together? I believe so. So Solomon, Charlemagne, and YSS is going to make your Solomon hit so hard. Yeah, that's going to be very good. Now, just to be aware of the way that the stacking works in this game. If I've got, like, just so you know that it isn't going to be as insane as you might first expect, I have a base damage, and then I have extra effects based on this thing here. Burn is going to deal more base damage, so that's good. But your silence, increase the hero's next skill. Oh, I guess you don't have silence in this army. It's going to be here is a modifier to the base damage. When you go and do Strategy Master's Gift and gives you increases the hero's strategy, this is a modifier. I'll explain in a second why this is bad, or sorry, not bad, but what this is significant. When he goes and he gives you a chance to activate the skill, you're going to do a full set of base damage plus modifier. However, the damage increasing effect that'll boost it by another 100% only boosts the base damage. It does not boost by anything of the modifiers. It's just an extra modifier added on. So if you did a base of 100 and like a plus 20 modifier, and this plus 100, it's 100 plus 20, 20, and 100. Right? It's not going to take 140 and multiply that one. So just be aware of that one. And Yisun here is going to have a similar effect. The next signature active skill is going to do modifier damage. So this is going to be what, like off the top of my memory, 70% or probably close to 100%. It's going to, how to put this, increase only the base damage by the extra 75%. It's not going to actually change the modifiers. So you're going to end up with like whatever base damage is plus, modifier added together and done to the thing. Not so the multiplication things of that won't be, they're additive basically, not multiplicative. So they're not going to be sky high even if you stack a whole bunch of them on. Still going to be strong because you're stacking a whole lot of damage on a whole lot of damage, so that's still going to be good, but it won't scale into insanity just because you stack a whole bunch of them. So Guitar Paradise, I think the easiest way to understand martial characters is to not think of tactician heroes as might or strategy exclusive. Hannibal is a good example of this thing. Okay, Hannibal does might and strategy damage, and he also has pretty high strategy too. He can really easily, like he doesn't limit it to just one. That makes him a bit of an outlier. But Cleopatra will also buff him with both might and strategy, and Ashoka gives him both might and strategy, and these are all tactician heroes. You have most martial heroes will do mostly might damage, but Saladin does might and strategy as well. It's kind of his big stick is both. Instead, I look at them like the Mavericks. Okay, they're the heroes with a unique ability, a unique effect, a unique mechanic. So you might have turn-based things is an example that's largely largely martial. You might have Saladin and his rage generation thing, because you have Roar of Victory is something that's often on the martial heroes. You can build a whole army of martials that just go ham on rage generation. Really, really ham. And that kind of puts them aside as a maverick army. but they still do might damage. Right? So like might and warriors are common, but not synonymous. Strategy and tactician are common, but they're not synonymous. You can have alterations on those. Better? No. Like for instance, Mulan is really strong. Hannibal's really strong. Sid's really strong. They're just they're not simple. I think is probably the way. They have something that makes them unique. Like they're the jesters, they're the rogues, they're the standouts, the bard. They can be really, really powerful because just by circumstance that they are, or they can be pretty weak. Burshra, for instance, is a martial cavalry that's really, really weak. Sejong is a martial cavalry that is fairly strong, but completely lacking any kind of army to properly fit into. So it's not strength or weak that's important, but like I'll put it this way: why do they have to fit into a designation? It's just a loose category. They just kind of roughly fit and do this thing, but it's not an indicator of strength. It's not an indicator of like have to this or that. You just can't mix types usually. It keeps them separated. Actually, you know what? That's probably the answer right there. It is so that there is a category where you can have units like Sid and not Mulan, even though they have similar effects, but they're kept separate in different category, might and warrior. Hey, thank you. I'm really glad you're happy with this stuff. I got, by the way, just so you guys know, I have a whole 6 videos that I've been trying to release for like 3 weeks, and I've just been plagued with so many tech issues and stuff that I just flat out can't get them done. And so my YouTube channel is suffering because I can't post very much because I keep getting stuck on these ones that I've been bashing my head against the wall trying to do, and well, a lot of effort. It's now to the point there where I'm hiring an editor. So if you guys know an editor, you can shoot them my way. Up and coming YouTuber who just desperately needs an editor. Yeah, I would very much appreciate any help in that regard I can get. I just can't seem to do it myself. I can do all of the information, great. I can do the recording, yep, sure. I am garbage at editing. It takes too much energy, too much time. I just don't got the time to do it in anything else. So if you can think of any help that might help send someone my way to do editing, I'd be very, very happy. And I gotta fix the angle of my camera because that dark light thing is driving me up the wall. Oh, that's not gonna last long. Have a chocolate. I'll probably close things off pretty quick here. Recording started really late. Shout out to my roommate who helped me get over the tech problem. Because I couldn't screen share and I couldn't figure out how. But yeah, these are the new heroes. I'm gonna be doing testing for the next couple of days. See what I can come up with. I'm looking forward to it. So with that, have a good night, guys. Goodbye.